They were once the coolest gadgets everyone wanted, and today some are worth a small fortune. Let's rediscover 17 forgotten retro tech devices that still amaze us. Alright, so first up we have to talk about the one that started it all for portable music, the Sony Walkman. Before 1979, the idea of having a high-quality personal soundtrack you could take with you anywhere was pure science fiction. On the bus, walking through the city, on a run, blue and silver metal case body, the chunky mechanical buttons with a satisfying clunk, the dual headphone jack so you could share your music. It was a masterclass in industrial design. It wasn't just a product, it was a cultural phenomenon that created the market for personal audio on the go, a market worth billions today. Every time you pop in your AirPods for a walk, you're living that legacy. If you have an original TPS L2 in good working condition with original box and accessories, you're looking at a serious collector's item. A mint condition first generation Walkman can fetch around $500 to well over $1,500. Okay, so if the Walkman made music portable, our next gadget did the exact same thing for video games. Launched in 1989, chunky grey vertical brick, instantly recognizable, monochrome P soup green screen, no backlight, primitive by today's standards but built like a tank, survived fires, survived falls, survived bombings, then the games, Tetris, the killer app that appealed to everyone, followed by Super Mario Land, Pokemon Red, Pokemon Blue, over 118 million units sold worldwide. DMG 01s are common, but boxed pristine units with Tetris fetch $300, $600. Factory sealed special editions, thousands. Nostalgia drives collectors to pay up. Alright, so moving on from audio and gaming, let's talk about photography. Specifically, let's talk about the magic of instant gratification. You'd point, you'd shoot, and then you'd hear that iconic whirring sound as the photo ejected. It was a shared experience, people gathering around to see the final result. Each shot cost money, each one was a physical thing. The act of shaking the photo, even though you weren't supposed to, and watching the image slowly ghost into existence was a ritual. Collectors are hunting for specific models like the iconic SX70, which was a true design marvel with its folding SLR body. A pristine, tested and working SX70 land camera could be anywhere from $200 to over $500. Companies like Polaroid Originals, now just Polaroid again, are making new film for these vintage cameras, which has reignited interest. People are willing to pay a premium for that authentic vintage experience. Okay, so we've talked about portable analog music with the Walkman. Now let's fast forward a bit and talk about the device that completely redefined the game for the digital era. Of course, I'm talking about the Apple iPod. That first generation model with its polished stainless steel back and, most importantly, the physical scroll wheel. There was this incredibly satisfying tactile feedback as you scrolled through your library. Click, click, click. Then you had the seamless integration with iTunes, which made managing a massive digital library effortless. It wasn't just a product, it was a revolution. A sealed, in-box, first generation 5 gigabyte iPod. You're looking at thousands, sometimes tens of thousands of dollars at auction. Even later generation iPod classics, particularly the final 160 gigabyte model, are sought after because they represent the peak of the product line. For audiophiles and music lovers, it offers a dedicated, focused listening experience that you just can't get on a modern smartphone. It's a perfect example of how iconic design and a revolutionary user experience can make a piece of tech timeless. Before the iPhone, before smartphones were just monolithic slabs of glass, phone design was wild. In 2004, one phone made everything else look old and clunky. The Motorola Razr V3. It was impossibly thin, crafted from anodized aluminum with a chemically etched keypad. That snap, satisfying clack. It wasn't just a phone, it was a status symbol and everyone wanted one. Special editions like the Dolce & Gabbana version can fetch even more. A standard used Razor V3 might still be pretty cheap, but a mint condition in-box model can sell for a few $100s, especially in rare colors like pink or black. Collectors are starting to see it as a collectible classic. It's a reminder that sometimes the most enduring legacy a piece of tech can have isn't its spec sheet, but its iconic design and the way it made you feel. Before we had these paper-thin OLEDs, QLEDs, and infinite contrast ratios, there was a king. And that king was the CRT, the cathode ray tube television. At the top of that mountain sat the Sony Trinitron. These things were absolute units, heavy, bulky, and they generated a ton of heat. But the picture quality, for its time, it was just chef's kiss. The secret sauce for the Trinitron was its aperture grille technology. The aperture grille used a series of fine vertical wires. This design allowed more electrons to pass through to the screen, resulting in a significantly brighter, more vibrant, sharper image. It minimized the screen door effect you'd see on other CRTs and produced these incredibly deep blacks. 2 words: retro gaming. If you want to experience classic consoles the way they were meant to be played, you need a CRT. Modern flat screens just don't handle those old 240p signals correctly. They introduce input lag and make the image look blocky and washed out. Now, finding a good quality, well-maintained Trinitron, especially the larger professional video monitor PVM models, can cost you hundreds, sometimes even thousands of dollars. For years people were giving these away. Now collectors are on the hunt. Let's talk about the console that arguably started it all, the Atari 2600. Launched back in 1977, this thing was a revelation. Faux wood grain paneling, black plastic, those chunky silver switches, and the joystick they see, that single red button, that stiff rubber covered stick, are burned into the memory of a generation. Playing games like Space Invaders, Pac-Man, Adventure on the 2600 was a foundational experience. The real value comes from condition and completeness. Boxed units with manuals and original inserts are the holy grail. Games with low production runs or mail order exclusives can fetch astronomical prices from collectors trying to complete their sets. A boxed Atari 2600 in mint condition isn't just old electronics, it's a preserved piece of cultural history. It's the genesis of home gaming and its legacy is priceless. Alright, let's pivot back to mobile tech for a minute. The Nokia 3310, it just worked and it never ever broke. This was the era of express on covers. You could swap out the front plates and back plates for any color or design. Texting on that T9 keypad, which by the way we all became masters of, a surprisingly fast experience. And second, of course, is Snake 2, the simple addictive game that was responsible for countless hours of lost productivity and drained batteries worldwide. It's a digital detox device, a weekend phone to escape the noise. Pristine, working models with original chargers and boxes are becoming surprisingly collectible. People are willing to pay a premium not for the tech, but for the feeling it represents, a feeling of simplicity and unbreakable reliability. At the heart of that battle was this absolute beast, the Sega Genesis. This wasn't just another console, it was a statement, it was a promise of faster processors, more mature games, and an overall cooler vibe. If Nintendo had Mario, Sega gave us Sonic the Hedgehog, fast, edgy, and full of attitude. Titles like Streets of Rage and Mortal Kombat catered to a different sensibility. Collectors hunt for early Model 1 boxed units, the high definition graphics branding, and original controllers and manuals. A mint boxed example can easily run into several $100s. Rarer cartridges in their plastic clamshells with artwork intact are highly sought after. The Genesis wasn't just hardware, It was a gateway to unforgettable 90s gaming. Okay, let's switch gears from epic console battles to something a little smaller. It single-handedly took over playgrounds, classrooms, even offices. Feed it, play with it, clean up after it, discipline it. Real accomplishment when your pet grew up happy. Real guilt when you neglected it and it died. A phenomenon with dozens of colors, but originals from 1996 and 1997 are what collectors want. The Holy Grail, unopened blister packs, they can fetch hundreds. Modern re-releases are common, but the originals laid the groundwork for modern nurturing game mechanics. You'd compare pets with friends, trade tips, and mourn losses together. For many, value is more than a price tag. It's a shared experience and a memory. Before the Apple Watch, before Wear OM, there was this, the tiny rubber buttons, the digital LCD screen, the unapologetically plastic and metal construction. I mean, it was a whole vibe. It was useful in class and became a pop culture staple. You had to have nimble fingers or maybe use the tip of a pen. Collectors hunt for made in Japan models, case back markings, clasp type, and serial details all matter. A good vintage example with original box and manual can be worth significantly more than a brand new reissue. It was the precursor to the PDA, the smartphone, and the modern smartwatch. It walked so that our current wearables could run. That historical significance, combined with its undeniable, retro, cool aesthetic, is why the Casio calculator watch has endured. We're taking a huge leap back to the dawn of home computing. The Commodore 64, for many people, this wasn't just their first computer, it was their first real interaction with technology at home. It plugged into your TV, used floppy disks and cassette tapes for storage, and opened up a universe of possibilities. The sound chip, the SID chip, was legendary, a unique, rich sound that defined a generation. Games like The Last Ninja, Maniac Mansion, Impossible Mission were deep, boundary-pushing experiences. Many users learned to code in BASIC right on the machine itself. Developers were wizards squeezing performance out of tiny hardware. Finding one with its original box, a 1541 floppy drive, and classic software is a huge find for collectors. These are artifacts. It's a pivotal moment when computers became part of the family home. The next evolution in portable audio was the move from cassette to CD, and for that, Sony led the charge with the Discman. The future was digital, clean, pristine audio you could take with you. Early models had a problem with skipping. That led to a feature war around anti-skip protection. The tech read music into a small buffer so playback could continue while the laser reacquired the track. For audiophiles on the go, this was revolutionary. You could hear every detail without tape popichas hiss. Early models, especially the iconic D50 and high-end later models with great anti-skip, are sought-after pieces. In a world of infinite streaming libraries, the Discman feels like a relic, but a powerful nostalgia anchor. They're a tangible reminder of when we first held pure, digital, high-fidelity sound in the palm of our hands. Before our smartphones became the central hub for our lives, there was a device that tried to do it all first, the Palm Pilot. It was small enough to fit in a shirt pocket, had incredible battery life, and focused on doing a few core things exceptionally well. It used a revolutionary handwriting recognition system called Graffiti, a simplified alphabet you had to learn. Syncing your data to a desktop via a dock was a game changer for productivity professionals. The zen of Palm stripped back features to essentials and made it affordable and fast to use. Seeing someone pull out a Palm Pilot and tap away with a stylus was the ultimate symbol of being organized. For collectors, owning an early Pilot 1000 or a sleek Palm Vi is like owning a piece of mobile computing history. It's the ancestor of the device you're probably watching this on right now. A monument to simplicity and focus in product design. We have to talk about a console that, for an entire generation, defined home video gaming, the SNES. It landed right in the middle of the fiercest console war we've ever seen. The controller introduced the 4 face button layout and shoulder buttons, a blueprint for future controllers. The 16-bit architecture opened up worlds previously unimaginable on a home console. Titles consistently ranked among the greatest of all time: Super Mario World, A Link to the Past, Super Metroid Chrono Trigger, Street Fighter II Turbo. A sealed copy of Chrono Trigger or Earthbound can sell for eye-watering prices. People aren't just buying plastic and silicon, they're buying a time capsule. It's a testament to how much the SNES got right. So, let's talk about a device that, for a time, ruled the smartphone world for millions, the BlackBerry Curve. Before the slabs of glass we carry today, this was the peak of mobile productivity, a real status symbol. The magic was the physical QWERTY keyboard. Each key had a satisfying tactile click. You could type long emails without looking. It brought BBM to the masses, creating an exclusive network years before iMessage or WhatsApp. For a while they were treated as e-waste, but nostalgia changed that. Collectors hunt for mint condition curves, complete in box with the original charger, holster, and paperwork. A boxed mint condition curve can now fetch surprising money. It's a testament to an iconic design, the pinnacle of the physical keyboard era. For this next one, we're taking a huge step back from smartphones and diving into something that's pure, unfiltered nostalgia, the VHS camcorder. This shoulder-mounted behemoth democratized home video for an entire generation. You had to pop open a door, slide in a VHS-C or full-size VHS tape and hear that satisfying clunk as the mechanism engaged. You'd press that big red record button and hoist the camera onto your shoulder, peering through a tiny electronic viewfinder. The analog warmth, the tracking lines, the soft image quality, and the date stamp. These were imperfections we tried to escape, but now they're desirable. Artists, filmmakers, and content creators are hunting for working vintage camcorders that still power on and whose tape mechanisms still work, especially JVC, Panasonic, and Sony models. They want the genuine article, not a digital filter. Working units with original battery packs, chargers, and tapes are selling for surprising prices. The imperfections of old technology have become valuable features. It's a fascinating turn of events. Dusty relics turned into coveted tools for creating a specific nostalgic mood. Thanks for watching TechProLife. Which retro gadget do you still remember using? Drop it in the comments, hit like if this brought back memories, and subscribe for more cool tech and future gadget finds. Remember when gadgets weren't smart, but they were everything?